Do you ever have those days where you wish that you could just be a little fly on the wall in somebody's kitchen for a week and just kind of watch everything that goes on and find out what they're making for their different meals? Well, if you have, then you're going to enjoy this video. I'm bringing you along for a week of 30-minute meals at my house, and the way that I decided to gauge this is it's not necessarily 30 minutes from the time that I start cooking until we eat. What I decided to do was instead make it 30 minutes of active time in the kitchen, whether that's early prep in the day and then I just leave it and then serve it later, or if it's 30 minutes from when I start cooking and then we eat it right away. That's the way I'm gauging it. So 30 minutes or less of hands-on time in the kitchen. So let me know, do you agree with that? Is that how you would gauge prep time for 30-minute meals? Let me know if you agree with that or not. But that's the way I'm doing it because I find that that's the most helpful for me to think about. Today we're starting off with one of my dinners. This is what I really like to do when it is time to start off my week on a Monday. Monday is kind of my day to sort of, if you know what I mean, recover from the weekend. Weekends are a little different because the routines are a little different. We're all home doing different things that we would like to do compared to during the week. And so I feel like there's always a lot of cleanup that has to be done, and just it's a big day for laundry for me. And so if I can have something that's very hands off for dinner, I find that that's really, really helpful. So on Mondays, I pretty much always go with a roast. And if you've been on my channel before, you'll remember that you've maybe seen this before, but oftentimes it's a beef roast. So I just have that in my cast iron Dutch oven. I have some potatoes in there, some carrots, some onions, salt and pepper. Oftentimes I'll add a little bit of ferment brine, like some pickle brine or sauerkraut brine in there too if I have it. But this is just so nice because it goes together so fast, so quickly, easily, and then I just throw it in the oven and forget about it. And then when it's dinner time, I don't have to do anything extra. I just make sure that we have the table set and then pull this out of the oven and go ahead and plate it, dish it up, and then it's ready to enjoy. So this is one of the ones where it's definitely less than 30 minutes. This is a really fast dinner to put together. Less than 30 minutes of active time for sure, significantly less. And then just take some time in the oven. And then when it's dinner time, super, super easy. So I like to start my week off that way. The next meal that I have is on a Tuesday, so Taco Tuesday is kind of my theme for Tuesdays. We try to keep some type of a Mexican type of a theme going for these dinners, and for this one, I'm deciding to get a little fancier today. Lately, I've been keeping it really basic with just some meat, lots of different taco type of toppings, and then some tortillas, and today I decided to be a little fancier and put together some enchiladas. So what I'm doing here is mixing together some spices. So I have onion powder, garlic powder, salt and pepper. I also have a little bit of arrowroot starch kind of as a thickener. I have some chili powder, some oregano. So I have my meat browning here. This is my grass-fed ground beef that I'm mixing up, and I'm just cooking that with some salt and onion powder, garlic powder, and then in my little skillet I have some butter melting, and then I'm adding that mixture of seasonings that I put together and my arrowroot powder. So I'm just getting that to kind of cook. That's just gonna be a nice base for my enchilada sauce. To that I'm adding some tomato paste, and then I have some really concentrated beef stock. It's like a beef broth, if you will, left from cooking a roast. So what I like to do is freeze little bits of this when I have small amounts of it left over. And then so it's really concentrated. So I have that I thawed, and then I'm adding that to my pan. I will add a little bit of water too to thin it out, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, when I cooked this. Yeah, a little bit of water too to thin it out since that's such concentrated beef stock. But I really like having that. So what I'll do is I'll have like a roast that you saw me cook the day before, and from the liquid in the bottom, especially if there's a bone, that liquid that gathers in the bottom, I will just freeze that in my little silicone 1 cup soup containers. And then when I need some beef broth to add to a recipe, I can just pop one of those out, let it defrost, and then I have that ready to go. So then that makes really delicious enchilada sauce. So I'm going ahead and just putting some of that in the bottom of my glass 9x13 baking pans. After that, I will just kind of build my enchiladas. So I have my flour tortillas with some meat, my cooked ground beef. I'm adding some cheese. This is shredded raw cheddar that I shredded another time. And then I add a little bit of the enchilada sauce to the inside. I just roll those up, and then I fill my pan with them that way. Then once my pans are both filled with all of those enchiladas, then I go ahead and I take the enchilada sauce and I drizzle it, trying to keep it down the middle of them because I want the ends of the tortillas to kind of stay dry and crisp up a little bit more in the oven. So once I've poured that on, then I just take some of my shredded cheese and I sprinkle that over the top. And then these are going to go into the oven, 350 degrees for just until that cheese is melted. All the ingredients that I'm working with are already warmed through, and so it doesn't really need to heat completely through or anything. I just want the cheese to kind of be melty, so it doesn't take too long. And this recipe, of all of the ones that I'm doing in this video, definitely took all of the 30 minutes. It wasn't one of the quicker ones, but still, 30 minutes. So doable. And then while they were in the oven, I went ahead and chopped up some other things, some lettuce, some tomatoes, some avocado, so that we could have some toppings to put on there. And then we have sour cream and some salsa as well. So we get to serve those up and enjoy them. Everybody loved these. They turned out really, really yummy. And it was fun to have just a little bit of a variety from just the basic tacos that we had been doing lately. For my next meal, we are getting some of our chickens. These are our broiler chickens that we grew last summer out in the grass behind our house. So we like doing this. Really, really high quality chickens are they're hard to afford in the store. They are a bit of work to raise, but we find that it's just so much more cost effective raising them ourselves. So we actually used to do this before we lived on acreage. We used to live in town, and we would use a little bit of land south of us that our friends let us use, and we would grow meat chickens that way. It's so much nicer having it right where we live. But this is one of my favorite really fast and easy dinners to make because it's so simple to just put a whole roasted chicken in the oven with some salt and pepper, maybe some herbs, poultry herbs on it, kind of optional, and then just let those roast. So again, active time again is what I'm calculating here, and active time for this one is definitely way less than 30 minutes. So those roast in the oven. I usually do about an hour and a half at a higher temperature, like 425, and then lower it to like 325 for another hour and a half. These are pretty big chickens, and since they're out on pasture, I find that the flavor just benefits from a little bit of a longer cook time compared to those really smaller, wimpy, I guess is the best word I can think of it, store-bought chickens. So there is a difference there when it comes to cooking them. So we're just sauteed some green beans in some butter, and we're serving those along the side. And then we have some slices of homemade sourdough bread with lots of butter that we're enjoying alongside it as well. And then for this meal, we're actually just eating the dark meat pieces of the chickens. And then I'm saving the white meat because I'm going to do another recipe in a couple days with that white meat. So this next day of the week is Thursday, and Thursday I like to keep as kind of an Italian themed night. So oftentimes we'll just do a really basic spaghetti with some pasta, some meat, and then a vegetable or a salad alongside, and some marinara sauce for the pasta and meat. But today we're gonna do a little bit of a different one, just kind of changing it up a little bit. So I have my ground beef that I'm browning in a pan here, my cast iron skillet, adding some salt, some pepper, and some Italian seasoning to it. I find that if you use a nice variety of Italian seasoning when you're browning ground beef, it kind of takes on a nice flavor that reminds you of more like an Italian pork sausage, which I think can be pretty nice. Then I have my noodles boiling, just some organic pasta noodles. And then I have some organic marinara sauce as well. I'm not one that makes every single thing from scratch all the time. I like to prioritize what's most important to make from scratch, and then if I can find a good purchased option every once in a while, then I'm totally fine with doing that. I still consider myself primarily a from scratch cook. It saves time and it makes it easier and less stressful. So that's kind of that. But basically what I'm doing here is a really quick, it's not really lasagna, but it kind of reminds you of it when you eat it. It's just a lot more simple. So I just have my noodles in there, my meat, and then the marinara sauce poured on top. And then what makes it remind you of lasagna when you eat it is that I'm putting some shredded mozzarella over the top. So you could get fancier with this while still keeping it simpler depending on what kind of ingredients you have. You could add some sauteed onions, some bell peppers in there. You could add some spinach. You could add ricotta cheese. You could really get fancy. Today I'm keeping it pretty basic because I don't have those things on hand, but adding the mozzarella cheese on top and then putting everything into the oven and letting that brown and melt just makes it really, really tasty. So we really like this as kind of a little bit of a variety if we want something just a little different from the basic spaghetti. So after I have this cheese on here, I'm going to go ahead and put these into the oven just a little bit to let those brown up, and then it will be ready to serve and enjoy. And while it was in the oven browning, I got out some lettuce and sliced up some tomatoes and some of my homemade ranch salad dressing, and we just have a little simple salad to enjoy alongside it. For this next day, it is Friday, and remember those whole roasted chickens that I cooked a couple of days ago? I promised that we were going to make something with the white meat that I saved from those. So today we're doing kind of an Asian inspired dish. And I know it's a little bit different to do a stir fry with chicken that's already cooked through, but this is what I'm doing and I actually really liked it. It was really easy, really fast, and I love how I could stretch 2 whole chickens to make 2 completely full meals for our family of 7. So that can be just very handy. And I love that about it. So what I'm doing is I'm starting some fat melting in my pan. It could be tallow, butter, lard, whatever I have on hand. I was doing butter today. And I'm just slicing up my vegetables. So I start with the harder vegetables that need the longer cook time first. So I did the carrots first. Then I added my sliced bell peppers. And then after that, I'm going to add some onion as well. Just adding those in there and letting them saute. While my vegetables are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and take my pieces of meat out. Oh, I forgot. Yes, pineapple. That's what makes this really fun. It's actually a pineapple chicken dish. I love pineapple in Asian food. I think it's so delicious. Let me know. Are you one who likes fruit mixed with meat, or do you think they should be completely separate? Let me know in the comments if you have strong opinions about that, but I personally love it and my family does too. So we're adding that. And then, so I'm pulling the chicken off. I just stored them kind of on the carcass because that was easy. And then while it's chilled, I just think it's so much easier to work with. I'm also getting my rice going. I should have done this way at the beginning, but I'm doing it when I remembered it. And I like doing that in the Instant Pot because it's really fast and easy. This one, again, is one of the meals that took all of the 30 minutes. It wasn't as fast as some of the other ones where they were way under 30 minutes, but still, totally doable. So I got my rice going in there. I have a whole bunch of butter in there, and then got back to work taking the meat off of those chicken carcasses. So it's just the white meat, which is really easy to work with, but I just pulled it off, and then I chopped it into a bunch of little bite-sized pieces. And then as soon as my vegetables were done to where I like them, then I go ahead and start adding the pieces of chicken, and then I don't let it cook too long. I just to where the chicken can kind of get mixed in well, warmed through, and then mixed with the things that I'm adding for flavoring. So for flavoring, I'm adding some natural, real fermented soy sauce. This is one of the very few times in my life that I ever eat anything made with soy. Usually I very much avoid that, but naturally, traditionally fermented soy sauce is something that I do enjoy now and then. And then I add some fish sauce and then also some sesame oil towards the end. And those just give it a really delicious, authentic Asian flavor. And right here, what I'm doing is pulling out some vegetables because my baby is going to be eating the meat and the vegetables, but she's not really having soy sauce yet. And so I pull out some pieces for her to eat before I add those other seasoning things. And then all I have to do is just kind of stir things around a little bit, make sure everything's warmed through, and then it's ready to serve on top of rice and enjoy. And then for this next meal, the way that this fits into the 30-minute meal theme is a little bit of prep work ahead of time. So I like doing sourdough baking for the week where I mix up a bunch of different things kind of all at one time because it's fast and easy that way. And then this pizza dough is one that will sit in the refrigerator until I'm ready to use it. So I made this dough a few days ago when I was doing other sourdough baking. It was so fast and easy to throw together. And then when it comes time to make dinner on this particular day, Saturday, I just have to pull my dough out, let it kind of come to room temperature a little bit. And then when I'm ready to cook, I just shape it into its balls, throw it into the cast iron skillet with the toppings. I let the bottom brown on the stove top while I'm adding the toppings, and then stick it in the oven and let it broil on the top, and then it's done. Really easy, so fast. And while the pizzas are in there browning, then I quick chop up some lettuce and put together a little salad. We're having this one with some Italian dressing on top. Oh, I'm getting fancy today too with the cucumbers and cherry tomatoes. So just wanted a little fancier weekend salad with this one. So that's what we're having this time, the homemade sourdough pizzas with a nice side salad. And then for Sunday, we are doing burgers. If you've seen some of my videos before, you'll remember that we kind of have themes for different days. Sunday is burger day, and we just really like it. It's easy. My husband helps make it. We have fries going in the deep fat fryer in tallow, and then homemade sourdough burger buns. So to be honest, for me, this day comes with almost zero prep time in the kitchen because my husband does the fries and the burger patties out on the grill. Kids set the table and get out toppings. I really just kind of stand by and help put things together. So this one was definitely way less than 30 minutes for me. Obviously, it was cook time outside on the grill, but still less than 30 minutes. We have our homemade probiotic pickles that we're having on there, some lettuce, sliced tomato, homemade mayonnaise, some ketchup, and then we have cheese that we melt on those too. Some of them are yellow cheese, some of them are raw cheddar, and then we just assemble with all the toppings that each of us like and enjoy. So that is our week of 30-minute or less meals at our house. I hope that you enjoyed seeing that. If you like these types of videos, stick around. I am thinking of starting a community pretty soon where I have live cook with me videos, fermenting workshops, just all kinds of things to kind of help with this space of learning to cook from scratch and keep it easy and doable and fun. So let me know if you're interested in that. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!